All right, so we are back again, um, finishing up our speaker build here. We started yesterday, uh, working on our 15-inch woofer here. I'm gonna wait a little bit, see if we get some people on before I get too far into this. Um, I'm trying to do my live on YouTube as well. I'm not sure if this is gonna work today. Um, this is let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can get this YouTube thing working here. Ah, okay. So my YouTube thing is working, so that's good. Let me see if I can get that shared online. All right. Awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So we left this yesterday to dry overnight. It should be pretty dry. I'm going to remove our dust cap here after I take all these clamps off. So we're gonna take these clamps off here. Let me get my buckets over here ready for these clamps to go back into, because we're gonna need them again here in a second to do our other speaker that we have to do over there. So we're just gonna pull off all of these clamps. Yeah. All right. So I want to get the spacer, our shim, out of the middle here. Make sure everything moves well, and then we will take the other speaker. We will put that shim in there, get that going and set up so that while that's drying, we can come back to this one and finish this one up, and hopefully we can just keep going back and forth like that until we have both of them done, and then we can hopefully test them today. Let's get a little stuck. Alright, it looks like my YouTube one is working, so that's good. Just want to make sure everything's working good. So I found out that when I did my stream yesterday, nothing saved. So that's unfortunate, but that's okay. I do have it recorded, and I will be putting that up on YouTube once I go through and edit out all the slow parts. So I think I'm gonna have to get a bucket for these clamps, because it's a lot of clamps, and they never go back in the package when you pull them out. And those are off. Awesome. So that's is on there. Awesome. It's looking good. Alright. So now we need to make sure that the speaker moves properly, so we can move the dust cap, and we can move our shim, and we just want to make sure that the speaker moves up and down nicely without any noise, and it looks like it does. Just a little movement and we're good. Alright, cool. That looks good. Alright, so we're good there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit more of that black glue in there just to make sure that this is all nice and sealed properly. And then I'm going to glue the dust cap on, and then put the gasket on. So our gaskets are over here. Let me grab the gaskets. And I just knocked over one of my buckets of clamps. That's alright. So these are our new gaskets. It's not one it's not like one piece like the old one, but it's still nice. So we line up our hole there, and it should line up nicely with the hole, and we just make sure that they go end to end as such, and we just keep going around. And then eventually we will glue this in. I just want to make sure it fits properly, and it looks like it does. So our gasket fits properly. We're good there. So I would just need to then glue this, and we should be good to go with that. So I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to save that till later. But we know it fits. That'll be probably one of the last things that we do. But for right now, we're going to work on this dust cap. Now that everything's in here nice and set and it's moving well, that's actually nice. Let me take my headphones off, make sure I don't hear anything. Alright. So I'm not hearing any noise as we do that. So what we're going to do with this dust cap is I want to make sure I line it up well. So right now this one was lined up, looks like roughly 90 degrees to the leads. So that makes me think that it needs to be pointed down this way. So we want our dust cap to be pointed, so we want the V to be pointed down towards this lower hole here. And that looks to be about in the, oh wait, I cut that one. Oh, let me look at the other one. I almost did that wrong. I forgot I cut that one to make sure that everything looked good. Okay, so it looks like I was wrong, and it should be pointed at this one. So it should be pointed down at this lead here. So The dust cap should be pointed there. That's why we double check to make sure before we glue. So we want the dust cap to sit about there. And you want it to be nice and centered. And then I have my ruler here. And we can make sure before we actually put some glue that this is actually where we want it. So it's 4.5. 4.5. 4.5. All right, sweet. So it looks like I can get that pretty much good by just going off the lines that are in the subwoofer down here. If you need to, I'll bring this a little closer so you can see it. But there are these little lines in here, and there's a light one in there that I can kind of get this to line up with and make sure that it looks even in there. So as long as that's even, we should be good there. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get something to put some weight on this so that when I glue it, it'll kind of hold this down like that, and that way it keeps it glued. Actually, I probably just use this. I have another one that I'm not going to be using today, and that one might actually work better. So let me go grab my other spool of solder that I'm not using today, and we can use that as a weight. Yeah, make sure my mic is in a good spot. Alright, so that looks like that should be a good weight. Alright, cool. We just want to make sure that it sits flush. So I'm bringing my camera down. We want the dust cap to sit flush just like that. So if I lift it up, you can see there's a little gap there. When I put the weight on there, it closes up the gap. That's what we want. Alright, and that looks pretty even. Alright, I'm happy with that. Let's go ahead and add our glue in here and get this ready to put the dust cap on, and then we let this dry, and we should be good to go with our testing of this today, hopefully. So I'm going to put just a touch more of this glue down here. Just to make sure it's all good. All right, cool. I'm good with that. And now let's see which glue we need for this dust cap, so I can use the proper glue. I don't want to use the wrong glue. Which one does it say for the dust cap? Alright. So the dust cap is going to use this same black glue. That's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. And then we just need that to dry for an hour. Should be good. This should give us enough time to get the other one done, and then we're going to use that 35 to put on the gasket. So I am going to take this black glue here, and we're going to put a nice light bead on here. You're going to kind of glue this edge here a little bit. I don't need a lot because we don't want a bunch oozing out. So we got a decent amount of glue around the edge of this. Let's get a little bit more over here. Make sure that we got some all the way around some of these light areas, so that should be good. All right, now I'm gonna take a piece of tape. Give me a nice piece of tape here. I'm gonna stick it to that, and that way I can hold this. I got a little glue on my hands. And where is my bottom? It's going to be here. So I want that to aim at me. We're going to drop that down. And we want to make sure that that's roughly even before we put the weight on it. Alright, let's get my measurer out here. That needs to go down some. Four and a half. Four and a half. 4.5. All right. I think we should be good there. That appears to be centered. So now I can take my weight, stick my weight on there, and just let that sit and dry. So push down a little bit on the edge. All right. Weight back on there. All right. So we'll leave the weight there. And we can let this dry while we go and start our other speaker. All right, so I'm gonna go grab the other speaker here. All right, so now we have our other speaker that we still haven't finished soldering our leads or anything on yet, because we haven't gotten that far. We were waiting for the glue down in our voice coil to dry, so we could pop out our whole drop in here. And what I'm gonna do, like I did yesterday, I'm gonna pop the holes in my voice coil here for the wires to come through, and then we're gonna put our shim back in there, drop this whole thing in, get it glued, and hopefully be good to go. I want to drop this in real quick to make sure that sits nicely before we go. Alright, it's got to be centered, but it does go in without much issue. Alright, cool. That's good. So, now I'm going to poke my holes. Alright, so where's my leads here? My leads are there. And drop a finger in between. Alright, let's do it this way. I'm going to put my shim back in there. Okay. So we got that. So we're going to put our shim back in there. Get this whole thing back in its home. Alright. Awesome. Alright, now it's not going to move while I try to do this. Alright. So, I put the finger there. And then we went up in between the this notch here. So we're just going to go into this little notch right there. So grab my dust cap here to make sure before I do it again. So my dust cap is going to come up to this ring here, And so I want it to be down in between those two, which is what I thought. Just double checking. Alright. And then we'll poke our little hole. So there's one hole. And then we'll poke our other hole a little bit over here. Alright, so now we have our holes poked. We got to get our wire. Come here. Alright. So we have our wire. And actually went and got some flux to try to make this a little bit easier. So I'm not messing this up. That way we can solder this a little bit better. And let me grab my soldering iron and my solder. Alright. So I'm going to slide this speaker up a little bit. And then I need my nice piece of wood here. Oh, let me cover up my glue before I forget. That'd be bad. Leave my glue out. Alright. So, we're going to take a bit of this flux and we're going to put that on the tip here. That way we can get a nice solder joint there. And actually, you know, I'm going to go get my wire stand. Make this a little easier. I don't know why I didn't use it yesterday, but it's a lot nicer than trying to just let it sit on the table there. This way it holds the wire up out of the way so that I can solder without damaging anything. So I can take that and clip my wire in there. Bam. Awesome. And now I can do my other one because I have two spots here. I'm doing both at the same time. Put a little bit of flux on there. Alright. Put them both over there. Alright. Let this warm up. Tend my soldering iron here. If you're here watching and you're able, say hi in the chat. I like knowing who's watching. You can ask questions as well. I am looking at the chat, so, or trying to at least while I'm doing this. Alright, so put some solder on there. There's our flux. There we go. And got some solder on that one. Solder on that one. Alright, cool. So we have tinned our leads there. So now we can take them and put them in the speaker here, and should be able to solder them nicely together. Alright, can move that guy out of the way. Not going to need this thing at the moment. Alright. Slide our wires through the hole here. There we go. There's one. Make sure we use our 10 sides. Alright. And then we can wrap our lead around there. And that way we can solder it. Same thing with this one. That around. And now we need to make sure that we get them down where they're supposed to be. Alright. And that should be good there. Just want to make sure that you have that done properly. Alright. Same thing with this one. Drop it down. Drop our lead down there. Make sure we get that down as far as we can. Alright, pull that through. Some of our wire came off of there. It's alright. Wrap it back around. I'm going to be soldering it anyway. Alright, that should be good. Now we just need to solder our end. I grab my soldering iron and we'll just solder it again. Come on, work. There we go. I think it's getting close to time for me to get a new soldering iron. Alright, awesome. Let's heat this up. There we go. Got solder on that one. And now we have solder on that one. Awesome. Alright. So now that we have that soldered up and that's good to go, we can make sure that those drop down. Good. And then we can glue that. So now we can take our black glue here and we can glue these in place. Drop a dollop on there all the way down to the base. Alright. And that should be nicely glued. Put another drop over here. Alright. That should be good there. Oh, missed a section. We got that down there, but we need to get some going down the wire here. There we are. That should be good. Awesome. Alright. So that's glued. Now we can go ahead and glue our actual cone to the basket. So I'm going to pop this out. There we go. We'll set that off to the side for a second. All right. And now we can apply our glue here to the ring here and the ring up here. Drop everything down. Get our clamps and make sure that this is lined up so that we get our leads where they're supposed to be. That's the important part. We don't want our leads to be pointed the wrong direction. They'd be bad, especially if we glue everything. So we're going back to our glue here. Put a line of glue around this ridge here. Alright, so we have our ridge of glue around there. And then I gotta do the same thing with this edge. Put our ridge of glue around this edge. Alright, so make sure that have glue fully encompassing the whole area. And it looks like we do. There's a little area here that needs a little bit more. And maybe some more here. Alright. Some of our areas that look a little dry we'll just fill in. And I think everywhere else we're good. So that's awesome. Now we can take our cone, our whole drop in here, and we can drop this in now. We're going to make sure our leads here are lined up with our terminals there. And then we can get our cone and everything lined up. Alright, looks like we're all lined up. And time to drop this thing down. Bam. Alright. And that's down in its spot. Awesome. Press this down. Thank you for the follow, Emop. Alright, so our voice coil is down. Now it's time for the clamps. We can take our clamps here and alright. Just that down. Time for all of the clamps to go around this thing. All right. Ah, my mom followed me on here. Hi. I thought that was you, but I wasn't sure. Hopefully, you're enjoying watching me put clamps on a speaker. It's a very tedious process. Put a little clamp in between there. Bam. All right. All these clamps. Drop the clamp. Ugh. All right. Still going with all the clamps. Running out of clamps. Have to spread some of these out. All right, and just let that sit. Let the glue dry up. And put a little bit more in here. Just gonna see a little pocket of light. Don't want that wire rattling around in there. As this thing goes up and down, I want it to be nice and stable. There we go. And we'll give this one just another touch of love, just to make sure. Alright, awesome. And I guess since I'm waiting, I can go ahead. No, I gotta take the shim out of this one. I don't want to take the shim out until this is dried. So we'll just let this dry. That one over there has been drying for about 45 minutes. So we can continue to let that dry while we work on soldering the leads. So I'm gonna go grab the other speaker and we'll get those leads soldered in. And maybe by the time we're done with that, we'll be able to test it. So we still have this one. We're waiting for the cone to dry. But what we can do is try to get the lead soldered on. So I don't think I need that weight anymore. We can just let that dry as it is. And I will turn this on its side. Now. And we'll set this like that. There we go. And now we got to get our leads to pass through, back through these holes. And we'll try to get that soldered up. So let me grab my soldering iron. So we want to make sure that we leave, you know, enough flexibility for this thing to move, but not so much that it's rattling around. So Man, I think I'm low on fluid. Let me fill this back up, and then we can get back to it. Well, come on, you go where you're supposed to go. There we go. There we are. Now we're filled back up. Awesome. Alright. Now we should be able to make this work. Now we're getting it to melt some solder away. I might have to poke a hole here in the solder to allow my wire to come through. Alright, let's see if that is enough to get this to come through now. Set that there for right now. Come on. Cut through here. There we go. Now we got it poking through there. Awesome. Alright. So now I'm going to give it a little bit of slack. Alright. Give it a little bit of flux. Just a smidget of flux. Grab my solder. Tin this guy up. And then we will get some solder in there to hold that in its place. Alright. So now that that's soldered in its place, make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. Alright, that feels super solid. Awesome. Now I can cut this. Cut the excess. Bam. And that side's done. Awesome. Now we got to do the other side. It'd be nice if I had one of those, like, they have like these vacuums for solder where you can like just suck up the little solder globules. Make this a lot easier than me trying to do this with my soldering iron and a little pick tool. But you know, you do what you can, what you got. There we go. Now we got some solder melting out of there. Poke our little hole. I don't know that that hole's big enough. Alright, we'll see if that hole's big enough. I don't know if it is, but we'll try it. Let's see here. Let's twist the end of this. And we'll try to get that to go through the hole. Alright, that's not going through the hole. Let's see if I stick some in it. Where's my pick tool? See if I can make this bigger with just the pick tool. Yeah, that might work. Come on. Now you want to go into your home. Come on. Oops. Twisted it the wrong way. Nah, I'm probably going to have to cut that. I messed up that end. There we go. So close. It's like peeking out. Just need to go the rest of the way through. Come on. See if I can grab that with this. There we go. Got it. We're gonna come out one way or the other. Alright. So now that that's out, let's go ahead and put our little bit of flux. Just a little dab will do you. Come on. I think it might be time for a new soldering iron. This thing is pretty old. I've had it for several years and it's worked great. Now it's starting to give me some issues. Come on. There we go. Alright. Let's get this in there. Solder. There we go. There we are. Cool. And check to make sure that that held nice and solid, and it did. Good. Then we can clip the end. Awesome. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one almost finished recone. So the only thing we have left to do is to test this and make sure that it works, and put our gasket on. And I'm gonna wait to put the gasket on just in case this doesn't work for whatever reason. That way we can order a new one if need be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my stereo over here that I don't use anymore, and I'm gonna hook it up and see if we get some sound. Let me grab something to put that on. Use this little stool here, and I have this old Sony stereo that I used to use for my home theater system that I'm not using anymore because the power button is like in and out. But I think I can get it to turn on maybe. There we go, it turned on, so that's good. Alright, let me get some speaker wire and see if we can get some sound playing through this. So I'm going to use my test leads here. Alright, we're going to hook up some black. And the red. And we're going to bring that over here to our table here so we can test this thing. I'm going to get a input cable for it so I can hook up my music here. Let's see if we can get something playing in it. Okay, so let's put this in. We'll go with video 1. input. Let's see here. And I'm going to play a song that I'm not going to get sent a copyright for. Let's see here. Huh. That's weird. Can't find the song I was gonna play. What happened here? I wonder if he took it off. Hmm. Well, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to play something for like a short amount of time. Oh wait, I know what I can play. I know what I can play. Alright. So we're gonna play a little bit of this. And make sure the volume's turned all the way down. Alright. And we're gonna hook this up. I'm gonna pause the music here that I have going. And we're gonna see if this plays anything. So that's all the way down. Good. Let me hook up my positive and negative here. It's the moment of truth. Did this recone actually work? There's the negative. There's the positive. And this is playing. And let's see what we get here. Awesome. We got some sound going on there. That's working. I like it. I don't hear any weird noises. Awesome. I think we're good. All right. Well, we know that speaker works. Turn off. Whatever, I'll leave you on. All right. So we can disconnect our wires here. And now that we know that this speaker works the way it's supposed to, we can get back to finishing up our rebuild on this by putting our surround on, and this one will be done. All right, so let's do that. So we got to take our 3035 here, which is this clear stuff here, and then let's see how this sits on here so I can make sure I have it. Alright, so just a little bit over the red. Alright, cool. So we're gonna go along the back side here, add a nice bead as it goes along, put a little bit there, as it goes along the edge of the speaker, and that way we get some nice adhesion here. Alright, so we have all of our glue here. Now we can take our gasket, make sure we line up our holes for the screws for the speaker. And press that down. And I forgot to put my Lazy Susan up here, but that's alright. It's not the end of the world. Press this in there. We have our last piece. Make sure all the holes are lined up. It looks like all the holes are lined up. Awesome. Press it down. And now, because I don't have any more clamps, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this, I'm going to sit it face down on a table until it dries. So we'll just let that dry, and this speaker is done. So that is effectively how you would rebuild a speaker. I'm not going to go through the process of boring you with waiting for the glue to dry on the other one and then coming back and doing this process over again. We've already covered it in this video. So thank you for joining me today. This was a little bit shorter. I wish I could have finished this all yesterday in one video, but we ran out of materials. But now I have enough materials to get this done. We're going to get this done. All right. So thank you for joining me. I will be posting more videos like this and other tech type things that I'm going to be doing around the house, around the school, and just in my garage. So feel free to stick around and subscribe and follow me on Twitch at Mr. Lewis CTE. I'm also on YouTube under the same name, Mr. Lewis CTE. And I will see you all later.